So on a normal drill press, there's that post. From this post to the center line of the drill bit is called the throat. And this there's the vacuum for later. The big drill press only has like a 7-inch throat. That's the base that came originally on this press. And it only had like a 4-inch throat. So that was a big problem. So I cut that off. And I found the old folding table frame. And what I did was took the giant piece of angle iron and I put some feet and made some nice, neat geometry angles, tied everything all in nice and snug, and to the gantry and made that nice and centered. Yeah, so that now I have a 17-inch throat, and I can just pass through however much I want. Well, the first board I drilled was run the drill bit down, blow all my sawdust out of the way. That was getting pretty annoying. So what I did is I hung that vacuum over there off that corner, and I had the hose running around, and I had some zip tie to hold it down. And it was all right. It worked. It wasn't that great. So got to thinking about it and working on the idea, and then buddy gave me this, and that was originally a fully functioning early 80s. All it would have needed was some wiring and other plastic that the rats had chewed up. Kirby vacuum functioning. Handle, bag, the bill with the roller. The belt was gone, but whatever. And so I just went to town on it, and I started by doing this carrier plate, and I had to cut this notch out in order to have room for the hole. So let's get this out of the way for now. I had originally thought about running it off of this front pulley. Angles and tensions and speed, it just worked better off the back one. But that was 2 washers that I put on a piece of copper pipe, and I put a ball peen hammer, and I smacked the flat end of the ball peen hammer with another sledgehammer, and used the rounded end to kind of cup the washers. Take them from flat and like this, but all the way around. And then I just weld them onto place, and that whole carrier plate is welded and braced onto a piece of pipe, and that piece of pipe sits on another little piece of rebar, and it free floats on it. It can pivot, but it's shimmed so that it doesn't necessarily wobble wiggle. And that was the tensioner. I lift it out, and the whole thing would pivot. I could, and then drop the pin into place, and that would hold my belt tension. As it ends up, the rubber hose, sorry, weird angle, rubber hose is not entirely flexible, and it worked out that the belt was the right length, and because that is considered what they call no load, it's just spinning it. It's not like it's this where it's actually having to like bite, cut, tear, chew. Like this belt has to be kind of tight or else the belt will slip. This, it's all I'm doing is just spinning a flywheel. There's so little resistance that the belt doesn't slip, even though it's, and so yeah, instead of using the tensioner, what I usually end up doing, I'll set this one camera down here for a second, is I'll just hold it. And you can see I have like a good amount of slop. I'll just sit here and I'll hold this like this and start up, hit the switch, let it start up. And because I've squeezed it and pinched it in and made it non-contact even more, it starts spinning, and then once I can, you can see there, once the motor gets the drill head up to speed, I just let go and it spins it right up. It's kind of weird to do. Hold on, let's see if I can hold. So I'm gonna hold three things with two hands at once. Okay, and switch. So you can, and then once it gets up to speed, because this pulley and the drill mandrel are acting as a flywheel, when I let go, it fires right up. And that way I don't have a super load, because sometimes it's like I'm not a huge fan of having to do that to that electric motor. It's only a half horsepower, and it's not, it wasn't originally designed for it, but because I'm running on the there to there gear ratio for my drive belt, I'm not necessarily needing the full torque of the motor for my mandrel, that I can spare a little. But that was the explanation for my rig. It was just the fact that I couldn't reach into the center of things well enough, and so yeah, I pull up one chair and I sit at this end. I have a work area to tape and tap and work on street markers, and then there's that, so that this is a little weird to try and hold the hands for, but then yeah,